have influence, but also in our case, we also have a million plus people of Pakistan and Kashmir heritage. Therefore, what happens in Pakistan does matter to us as well. I know there'll be critics out there, they'll say, oh no, you are there to represent British interests. Yes, but British interests sometimes become, it's important that we also see what happens across the world. And I've always took a view that I will never turn my back, whether it's Europe, Africa, or elsewhere. I'll always speak truth to power. So I want to take this opportunity to talk about an important issue that not only affects Pakistan, but also affects the United Kingdom. At the moment, we recently had a very dry spell. And the area that I come from, Yorkshire, we had a horsepower ban because there was a shortage of water. So it's not just developing countries that have a problem, but we have a problem as well. However, Pakistan has a huge problem in that water has become a life and death issue. Pakistan is one of the most water-stressed nations on this earth. You have a huge population, and I don't know, I tested some of your politicians when they came in July, but you as a nation only have 30 days of fresh water. 30. Neighbouring India has 220. Egypt, which is essence a desert, has nearly 1,000. So regardless of what India might do with the Indus Water Treaty, where it wants to divert rivers, I think there's a huge challenge for Pakistan going forward. And my view is, and I've made it privately and I'm saying it to you publicly now, that Pakistan as a nation has 3 strategic priorities. It doesn't matter who's in charge, which party, whether it's military. When it comes to the issue of Kashmir, all those parties are on the same page. When it comes to the relationship with China, particularly economic ties, they're all on the same page. And then the issue that we often refer to as a nuclear deterrent. Yeah? Doesn't matter who's in charge, whether it's a military government or a political party, PTI, whatever, they're on the same page. My plea to everyone during this visit will be, the water now has to be Pakistan's 4th strategic priority. We need people from all walks of life, political parties, but also people involved in civic society, to take the issue coming down the line seriously. Because if your neighbour decides to divert water and you've only got 30 days, then all these other arguments you're having will pale into insignificance. Just ask the people of Gaza when someone decided to turn off the power and the water, and you are thirsty and hungry. And all these little issues of, I'm from Rajasthan and I'm from Sindh and you've got more water than me, will pale into significance. So my role I see here as being a critical friend of Pakistan, just as being a critical friend of Bangladesh and others, to say that actually you need to come onto one page here. There needs to be a national debate in Pakistan about how we deal with water. And it's not a simple case of building a dam or 2. Because the issue is far greater. We have 2 dams, one near us called Mangla. And I asked the question, when was the last time we desilted those dams? Because I know we've been uplifting them, and we've lost land in those areas. But if you do not desilt those dams, then the storage capacity disappears. The other question I have is, when was the last time you modernized and updated your agricultural policies? How you use water? Because you may well have used water 200 years ago, but right now, with a massive population growth, the business as usual is not possible. And that's where relationships with the West will come into play. Both the United Kingdom and Europe, and I would say America, elsewhere, they have very modern farming techniques where you can get the same yields in crops, but use less water, drip irrigation. And I think it's the time here now for a wholesale debate. And I think you as a press have a huge duty here to say that we also want to be in this debate and we need to influence political parties from all stripes. So I'm happy there's been some people here from different parties, because I want to speak to all of the leadership, both when they come to United Kingdom, I will constantly mention this to them, but also while I'm here, I would like to speak to both the political leadership, some of whom we've spoken to already, some are lined up to be spoken to, but I also want to speak to other bureaucrats, from the Indus Water Commission, etc. Also talk to them and say, what we don't want to be in 15, 20 years' time to say, we knew there was a problem, but we failed to act. And as a result, Pakistan faces a shortage of water. Because if you get this issue of water right, then as a nation, you are the 5th largest when it comes to population. If you get this right, you can become a major power. You can be part of the G20 in the next 15, 20 years, because you have a population that is 60% of which is under 30. It is no more educated than their parents and grandparents. It is more connected to the world through smartphones and the internet. Therefore, the opportunities that those young people will have will be far greater than their parents and grandparents. And with that, you'll be able to increase the average income of each Pakistani. As a result, more taxes will be gained by the government, people will be more wealthy, your life will be better, and as a result, as a nation, you will grow. And I was saying earlier that you should also have a vision to have a country that is a food surplus. So you produce more food than you actually consume. And I think one day you should be like America does. Whenever there's a disaster in the world, you see sacks of grain and other surpluses saying US aid. Why can there not be this at a much grander scale of market aid with your flag on that? Because then that soft power, because we had an opportunity to meet with some delegates. Isa was there, Haji Mahbub Saab, from Gambia. And they were so supportive of Pakistan, and me and Haji Mahbub were a bit confused. Gambia said, oh, why are they so supportive of Pakistan? And the reason is, when Gambia got its independence, everyone was waiting for them to fail. And what those Gambian representatives told us is that they remember in the 60s, and I suspect it was General Youps' tenure, that Pakistan supported them. And even now, all those years later, when they had an issue around the classification of basmati rice, is it from India or is it from Pakistan? They decided, no, basmati rice is from Punjab, which is in both areas, and therefore we will not give exclusive rights to the rice from India. And similarly, the European Union, during my tenure, also had this question. So I think what we've got to do is look positive to say, how can we improve the image of Pakistan? And part of it is having a stable government, a rule of law, and the final leg of that three-legged stool is a free press. And we should not shy away from criticism. I always, I've asked friends today about what do you think I should say or what I shouldn't say today. And I should not take offense if someone gives me some genuine criticism. I call it a critical friend. When you're doing something wrong, and all your friends do is well done, actually they're not your best friends. The friends are who say, hang on a bit, I'm not sure you should do that, or actually you should do this way. Some of that is about how you dress and how you conduct yourself. So I want to say that I will play my role in the UK Parliament. I mean, the situation in the UK is quite delicate at the moment. We have a new government, which has a huge majority in the lower chamber, the House of Commons, but in the House of Lords where I sit, they don't. So there's roughly around 200 Conservatives, 200 Labour, and there's 75 of us, the Liberal Democrats. And we have a very important role to play, because often we can either support legislation that's coming through and support the government, or we can block it. Or in the case of what I'm doing with the Children's Wellbeing in Schools Bill is actually amending legislation to make it better. And I see that as a very important role. Yes, I am from this part of the world, that's my heritage, I can never forget that. And plenty of people like Nigel Farage's friends will always remind me who I am, but it doesn't matter. What I want to do is play a positive role, supporting the country I'm originating from, but also more importantly the country that's given me the opportunity. And you've got to ask yourself, can Pakistan get to a place where minorities like myself